Salute! This is Jeff.
This is David.
There's a new episode available.
Woo!
Yay! I broke down and we're gonna do the stupid DLC stuff.
Stupid DLC stuff?
That is entirely accurate for the thing we're about to watch.
Oh, it's stupid?
Yeah, it's not great.
Oh.
That's my review. This is episode 11.5.
Forging Ahead.
Forging Ahead is supposed to explain the mysterious explosion, which I never wondered about.
What mysterious explosion?
The mysterious explosion in between the two episodes when Asura was like dead again and turned into like a statue for some reason.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, I didn't care either.
Yeah, and if you were to guess, I'm sure you would be able to guess what happened.
He died and he has to climb back out from...
Well, no, I guess that doesn't technically happen.
Oh, this looks really cool.
So this is the way this particular episode goes. It has a completely different... on the one hand, it does have a completely different art style. So there's that. This is sort of Oni Asura.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give it that much. It's a completely different art style. Now, do I like the art style? Not really.
Aww.
Not really. I get credit for changing it up, but this whole thing, I don't know. This particular episode, which was like a DLC, a $2 DLC thing, is very cheap.
Why do you have back nipples?
Not sure. It's just I think those are...
So is this QuickTime event?
Yeah.
The DLC?
Yeah. It's just you just watch the cutscene and you tap along on certain parts. That is it.
All right. Well, that's fine because the combat parts of the game aren't good. So let's just do all the cool stuff.
Sure. But the game is cool. This is just an anime cutscene that's not very long.
Oh, we're straight up like playing like a Sega CD this
FMV
is like game.
Sewer Shark stuff. It's just
great. Now I was a fan of the art style until that moment where I don't know what his body was. Like it was just very rough. Also rhinos. Yeah,
things just get real amorphous and frankly ugly. So.
Yeah. Which just, I guess, for me means, like, well, this is what we had the money for.
I mean, I guess. There's one other interim episode, and then there's a 4-episode pack at the end that we'll get to eventually. I don't know what the other interim episode is like, but I'm not particularly looking forward to it after this one, so...
Oh, good. Yeah, this just reminds me of, what was it, Funimation or whatever, where, like, there are times when people's hands look like some sort of weird block with, like, tiny little fingers sticking out of them.
Well, I mean, Funimation is a publisher, distributor.
So it's not Funimation. What is it? There are a couple of studios where, like, the moments where they want it to look pretty look kind of okay, but then the rest of everything is horrible.
Yeah, not. Sometimes there's not as many. Sometimes the in-between frames are not quite as there.
Yeah.
And I think that's definitely the case for this.
Yeah. This is a little hard to watch, actually. Like my eyes are having a problem focusing on some of it. Maybe this is more like the stuff I dealt with. Axiom Verge was a screen refresh thing. I figured that one out.
I was wondering about that because there's none of that issue on the PS4 version. So.
No, it's I need to set some things up. It's just there was a lot of, I guess, it amounted to screen tearing that I was saying or whatever. It wasn't smooth scrolling and it started to really hurt my eyes. So I think I figured that out. Oh, stop it. Stop. Get off.
Hey, that was pretty good. Axiom Verge is pretty good.
Axiom Verge is really good. I'm going to figure out eventually how to make it stop hurting my eyes, and it's going to be great. Because, man, that's a pretty game, and, man, the
good.
music is fantastic.
It's got some rockin' music. Well, it's not really rockin' music. It's more like atmospheric music.
Oh, jeez. You know, when you talked about this recording session, you said, have you ever seen something so awesome that you
Yes.
just started laughing? This
Yes,
isn't...
if you said something so awesome that you just kind of laughed out loud.
Yeah.
That was my tease. And that'll still... Look. That's why I wanted to record it, in case you were wondering, viewers at home. We recorded these 3 episodes. 3 episodes together, so this is the 11.5, and we're also going to be doing 13 and 14, sort of in one session. Because I feel like these 3, it tells a good story, like a good quality story. Now, I don't mean that the story is quality. I mean that it's a story about quality.
Oh.
So we can see kind of experimental, doesn't quite work, is where it starts. And then works real well.
Hand.
Yes, united hand. Eventually, we'll get to the point where, hey, we're halfway done.
Thank God.
Where there's some good
Oh,
stuff.
jeez, stop it.
That's a good splash screen, though. It's very something. It's very painterly.
Yeah. This. All right, let's see what he does with it. It's
What's wrong with your face?
what's wrong with your everything? I feel like I'm watching one of those like stream of consciousness animations where
Yeah.
everything just flows into other things,
Yeah, I feel like I should be listening to some pogo music.
or just the first part of Fantasia.
Yeah, something like that. It's like the deleted scene from Cabal.
I've never seen that.
It's okay. It's
Okay.
really weird.
Oh, well, that's not surprising. He just gave a thumbs up.
Just give a little thumbs up.
I think I would have been kind of okay with this if it didn't look so ugly.
Yeah, not a huge fan.
Yeah.
I have other problems with this.
Well, I didn't have to play it, so...
Yeah, like the gameplay or the lack thereof. Is
Right.
The problem.
Like, he goes from looking like Colonel Campbell to looking like an Oni to looking like Hagar from Streets of Rage to just like, pick a face. Maybe I'm just too close-minded when it comes to animation.
Yeah, you're right. Well, you're not the kind of person that would just watch some weird animated show.
Yeah.
About like giant face robots and the galaxy.
That was consistently animated. That was from...
What about sentient clothing? What about a little kid with a bent baseball bat?
Okay, that one is... That one still freaked me out. I didn't finish watching that one.
One day I will actually get around to editing that video.
Oh, that's still not up.
Nope, it's not. Because you know what? It's a lot of work.
Well, also
edit those things.
every other otaku episode we put up gets taken down like 4 or 5 times. So what's the
surprisingly,
point?
I've not gotten anything on the Evangelion episode. Surprisingly,
Right.
I figured like that would be the one that would almost immediately go down because of one of the clips from different sources. But
Because you had what, 5 or 6 different sources in that one?
yeah, it was the original series, the rebuilds, the end of Evangelion movie, and then also Razafon and the Razafon movie.
Right. He turned into a horse. He was a horse for a very brief second.
This is no place for a horse.
What? What is wrong with her face? Let's see.
A version of Olga and a version of Deus. A very sleepy Deus.
And now I kind of feel like I'm watching some of the weirder parts of Asterix and Obelix. I don't...
See, Olga was actually fine. Like, it wasn't too weird. But then again, she also was only on screen for about 1.5 seconds.
I don't want to see that much lip and nostril detail I get.
Uh-huh.
Now we're watching The Hobbit animated. What?
Yep, kind of.
That's very similar to some of the ways some of the enemies died. There just wasn't the generic noise they used.
So at this point, you're like, oh, I spent $2 on 10 minutes of bad anime? Kinda.
Yeah, that's, at least it was only $2, though it should have been free. Or not. Should have just not been.
It should have just not. This doesn't add... Well, this add... it's also... Yes, it's also useless except for one piece of, I guess, slightly interesting lore that gets stuck in the interim at the end, where it has, like the still images and you have the dialogue.
Well, since I can't read that, what does it say?
I'll give you the gist of it. We're not at that yet. It has a full credit scroll.
Oh, great.
Padding, I guess.
Because it took, all these people to make that 2-minute thing.
Well, it's still 10 minutes of animation, which is incredibly time-consuming to make, but... I'm just gonna say,
Yeah. Well, it's like, yeah, you probably put a lot of work into it, and so on and so forth, but if at the end of the day it's a product that I don't really like, I guess that's what really matters?
Yeah, pretty much. It's really an aesthetic thing. Well, I don't like the aesthetics of it, which... I guess if you're into, I don't know, maybe there's some famous person that directed this.
Well, I mean, I can't remember the dude's name, but he was an American animator who had a similar kind of style with how things weren't really on a rigid skeleton.
Uh-huh.
And he actually made some very cool looking things, but you go into it expecting that.
Sure.
He almost never did treatments of popular work like that. And if I could remember his name, this would be a much more salient point, but...
Sure. Well, either way, it's fine that it's a different art style. I don't like it, but that's not really the main problem. The main problem is that it costs money. I mean, I don't know. I think it costs too much money for that small amount of stuff.
And it was only $2.
Yeah. It's only $2, which is not... I mean, it's not the end of the world, right? It's fine.
Right.
But the other thing is that there is no gameplay. And there is no indication that there is no gameplay. When you're, buying the episode. You just think that it will be an episode of the, the game.
Right.
Which, it's not really. It's just a kind of short cutscene that you tap buttons to, and then that's it.
Great.
So yeah, waste everyone's time. Forging ahead, the little interim part here at the end is the only thing that's worth anything. It's got very very sort of hackneyed writing where it's just between demigod A and demigod B, and they're just saying, I hear that. Have you heard that Asura fought? What's the doodle? August.
August.
Like, oh no, Lord August hasn't been found. You don't think that Lord August could have been beaten by Asura? This kind of stuff. And then they're like, well, of course, that Asura's mantra affinity was wrath. And you're like, oh, what do you mean? And then they just go into exposition, which is what's happening now. Or oh, of course, there's the 8 mantra affinities, and they're just the 7 deadly sins plus melancholy for some reason.
As somebody who knows very little about any of this, is that a thing?
The 7 deadly sins and melancholy?
No, the mantras.
Mantras, I do not know. I am no expert in Hinduism or Buddhism or the particular mix of that and science fiction that they're going for.
That's true, yeah. That was, you know what? That was one of the things I like about Digital Devil Saga. Yeah, it's a Shin Megami Tensei game, so they just kind of take a little bit from everything.
Yeah.
But when they named things with a Hindu name, it was on some level appropriate.
Yep.
Most of the time. Sometimes not. Sometimes way too on the nose, but good.
So they're saying that Asura's affinity is wrath, which, okay, we get it. A little on the nose, but we get it.
Name of the game. Yep.
Name of the game. And they're saying that Deus is the strongest because he's pride, as you do. It's like, I know, I've seen Fullmetal Alchemist. Like, we've
covered that.
I'm familiar with animes, what use, naming conventions of Seven Deadly Sins, which are technically not actually, they're not enumerated in the Bible. It's just an interpretation and a categorization of kinds of sins. So let's see what happens if you don't actually do anything.
Oh no!
This is the other reason I think it's worthless. Because you're just watching a VLC video.
This is literally an FMV game from a Sega
but then
CD.
if you don't press the buttons, you just have a health bar that goes down. Nothing else changes. And then if you goes all the way down, and then the video stops playing, and then you have to start over from the beginning. So that is that.
You know what? It's a flash game. That's what it is. It's a flash game, like a bad one. With better art for like a bad flash game, but whatever.
Yeah. All right, we don't have to dwell on this one. There's bigger and better things to get to.
Yeah, this will be the episode with the least amount of chatter after the end of it.
So if you enjoy Patreon, I guess.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, it's
Go buy my video game.
Yeah, go buy his video game. Do it. It's called The Logomancer. It's pretty good. I like it.
I also like it. I'm a little biased though.
So am I. It's like, my best friend's game. Yeah, go buy it.
So let's watch a better episode.
Let's watch a better episode. All right.